This podcast is kindly sponsored by Euro Auctions. The next auction takes place in Mount Rath on the 14th and 15th of November, kicking off at 8:30 a.m. So, welcome to the ICE Expo Podcast, lifting the lid on all things plant and construction. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined here today by Glenn Ryan, who is the director of O'Neill and Brennan. Thanks very much for coming in, Glenn.
Hi Danielle, how are you?
Not too bad now, not too bad. So I suppose to kick it off, do you want to tell me a little bit about O'Neill and Brennan, how you got involved, how long years are going? And
Yeah, well, O'Neill and Brennan are in existence, I suppose, nearly as long as agency labour are, particularly in this country, but they would have started off originally in the UK.
Okay.
Dan O'Neill and Jerry Brennan were involved in agency hire over there and set up their own company then, I think in the mid-80s, and moved to Ireland, or extended into Ireland in the mid-90s.
Okay.
And both were involved in the setup, but brought in a relation of Dan's, Martin Callan, who was the MD of our company, and Martin is still there now. And I suppose when they came into Ireland, it was something new in the industry.
Yeah.
But we're here since.
That's
I
brilliant.
joined 21 years ago now, formerly a teacher.
Right, okay.
So it was a big swerve from what I suppose I would have set out originally to do.
And I say you've seen a lot change then, do you know, like I suppose everything's online now, and do you know, you mentioned Indeed earlier on to me. Have you seen a huge change, I suppose, in the way things run now?
There are a lot of changes, but I suppose in relation to other industries, I wouldn't say the change is slow, but ultimately construction revolves around people.
Yeah, 100%.
And you need people involved. It's not like a big warehouse where, you know, things are changing and evolving, where you have machines packing pallets, or you need people at the heart of the industry.
Yeah.
And that has remained at the core. But I suppose the peripherals have changed. How the industry is run is still probably the same, but how it's starting to evolve is interesting, and how that human element can remain part of it. But yeah, the likes of Indeed has changed it, the whole advertising within certainly recruitment. The day-to-day running of sites, I would imagine, has changed from sites that were just literally ran by individuals, different sections. Paperwork, as we all know, is a big part of everybody's day now, and everybody has to evolve, because the paper may be going away, but the RAMs and everything that goes along with accountability isn't changing, and that's only going to
And I don't think it is going to change anytime soon.
No, and probably for the better too.
It is for the better, for safety and all that kind of stuff. What would you say is the biggest challenges you're facing as regards, like I've companies on to me every day shouting for, you know, labourers, drivers. How do you fill that gap?
We might get you working for us. If they're out, yeah. It's a difficulty, and you know, you asked earlier how have things changed in our business. When I started, there's probably only two other competitors that we have.
Right.
I seen recently a circular came out from a particular company addressed to, I'd say, whatever recruitment companies they were dealing with, and I think there was 36 recruitment companies in that email.
God.
So that's certainly a huge change and a challenge for us all. Well, again, getting back to, I suppose, when I would have started, there was a great release valve leading into the whole boom era from the point of view of people coming into the country.
Right.
You know, we had an awful lot of people making themselves available from Eastern Europe and all around Europe, coming from areas where maybe the economies weren't at the same level as what Ireland was in the early noughties, and many people came here bringing their skills or looking to add to skills, or just looking for work. But also at the time you had the facility to be able to accommodate those people.
Yeah.
And when they came over, they found, I suppose, accommodation and being able to find housing easier. And as we all know now,
It's nearly an impossibility.
It's very difficult to bring people in. Those economies are noticing an uplift themselves now, and many are maybe going the other way.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge. And I say when you have these challenges, you have to maybe evolve and try and see what it is that you can do. But from our industry, it's a first world challenge.
Yeah.
There was plenty of years there where you had people sitting at home, not being able to find work for them, and it's great now that the difficulty is trying to find work or trying to find people to accommodate the work as opposed to trying to find the work.
100%. And what would the process be like? Like, let's say, I'm a construction company out there, and obviously I'm looking for staff. If they reached out to obviously O'Neill and Brennan.
Yeah. Well, within, I suppose, that reaching out to the likes of O'Neill and Brennan, we're divided, I suppose, into two. We've got our white collar and blue collar.
Okay.
Or our labour and trades and our pro-tech.
Okay.
So we're predominantly labour and trades.
Okay.
Which is the blue collar side.
Brilliant.
The people who are on the ground, the people who are pushing the brushes or digging the holes or working the machines. And then the white collar are those who manage those people on the ground.
Okay.
I suppose who are responsible for the delivery of any projects that you're on. So the process is still the same. You're reaching out to people. You're communicating with them. You're hoping they might respond to ads or respond to vacancies that you have advertised, or they're coming to you to say that they are available.
Yeah.
And I say the process is much the same. I mentioned earlier that the game is, or the industry is still about people, and the best way of getting relationships, building up relationships, is communication and that one-to-one touch, I suppose. We're all using social media. We're all
100%.
reaching out, but I suppose the downside of that, which you don't want to hear, is in some ways that contact is lost.
Yeah.
And we're determined in O'Neill and Brennan that despite all the changes that are going out, the core and the essence of what we do is about relationships. And
look, you're in the market, I suppose, a very long time. What year was it again that you started?
We started in Ireland in 96.
96.
I joined in 2004.
And would you be, communicating with colleges and stuff? So let's say lads do apprenticeships. Would you be able to get them out of college, get them into work? And like, how do you see that evolving at the minute?
Well, we all know there's a huge shortage of people with trades.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's to try and encourage people into the industry, first of all, but also into the likes of the apprenticeships.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that starts in schools.
Yeah.
And it starts around an awareness of construction. When I grew up, Kildare Town had no construction, or had no idea what a construction site was. I grew up, went to school. I wouldn't think I'd seen a construction site.
Okay.
Throughout the whole boom period, now I went to school before it, I suppose, in the early 80s. But still at that time, a recession, certainly quiet period. Now people in Kildare Town go to a building site in the town to get work in the buildings, as we used to call it when I was growing up.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of my friends, I didn't do it myself, but a number of my friends would have gone to England.
Right, okay.
And they went to England to work in the buildings.
Yeah,
and that's what was spoken about at the time. But the industry is branching out into areas that never seen really construction on a large scale previously.
Okay.
Before, even again during the boom period, the epicentre of everything that was going on was in Dublin.
Yeah, 100%.
But now you see big construction companies starting to, I suppose, come west of the M50.
Yes.
And particularly house building, it's extending beyond the Pale, I suppose. And but it's big housing projects.
Yeah.
And the great thing about construction is when you see construction, it's the start of something.
Yeah, 100%.
There's something coming down the line.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel, and I would use Kildare Town as an example where I'm from myself. We had no experience of construction when I was growing up. Kildare Town, it was referred to as the the three S's, soldiers, sheep and stable lads.
Yeah,
Some would
very
say
good.
4 S's, sheep shite in some cases. But the town has evolved. Our soldiers have probably left the town. There was a barracks in the town,
Okay.
which is obviously closed, but is now a building site where there's houses going in and industrial units and creches and schools has taken over from what was there. Thankfully, our stable lads are still there, because obviously horses around Kildare town is
huge.
It's hugely important. But the town has evolved, and I would have seen those changes in the town having to evolve to accommodate the new industries, new people coming in as a result of construction.
Okay.
So even likes of new schools being built was something different. But I suppose one thing that we're very proud of is we've partnered with Kildare Town Community School, and every year we run a Safe Pass course for 20 kids in the school.
That's fantastic.
So it's an introduction to them into an industry that they're growing up around now.
Yeah.
It's part and parcel of the town.
I think it's really important to be giving children the awareness of how good the industry is and the great careers that are in construction, that are available. And, there's so many different, like from project managers to quantity surveyors to, bricklayers.
That's right.
Like it is fantastic. So go back there a number of years. Obviously, I suppose you were a very talented footballer. You captained Kildare to an All-Ireland. What year was that?
Well, we got to an All-Ireland final in 98.
98.
Unfortunately beaten by Galway, and Galway beat us again in 2000 in an All-Ireland semi-final. But I suppose the big thing around that time was it coincided with Mick O'Dwyer being in Kildare town, or in Kildare.
Right, okay.
And Mick O'Dwyer would have been manager of the great Kerry team during the 70s and 80s, and probably, I wouldn't say just the greatest manager, but probably the greatest GA figure of all times.
100%.
And he unfortunately passed away during the year, but
a real character,
a huge character. An unbelievable manager, unbelievably passionate about his football, and that added to our involvement, and we came, I suppose, up from a time in Kildare where football wasn't successful. We hadn't won a Leinster title since 1956. Still haven't won an All-Ireland since 1928.
Never say never.
Never say never. But there's no doubt the rise in popularity in Kildare and the limited success that we had was purely down to Mick O'Dwyer.
Right, okay.
And him to be leading that ship brought an interest not only from people in Kildare, but from the wider GA community as well. So we were hugely fortunate to be able to ride that wave for the period that he was there.
And then you had a little stint then managing yourself.
I certainly didn't have the impact Mick had in Kildare. but look, it was always something I wanted to do. I was certainly hoping I would have been able to do a better job than what we did do.
This podcast is kindly sponsored by Euro Auctions. The next auction takes place in Mount Rath on the 14th and 15th of November, kicking off at 8:30 a.m. So Glenn, tell me a bit about you growing up, your childhood. I suppose you always had a ball in your hand, I presume.
Yeah, a ball in my hand, probably more out in the green than down in the local GA pitch, because when I grew up, there certainly wasn't the underage facilities or outlets that are there now for young kids growing up.
Right, okay.
There was the underage football that you played was just purely in school.
Yes.
And there was no, I suppose the first game I played for Round Towers would have been at under 14 level, which we're now in Round Towers. We have nurseries, we have under 7s, under 8s, the whole way up, boys and girls, football, hurling, camogie. The way GA clubs around the country have evolved to accommodate people is
it's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal compared to, say, when I would have grown up. So most of the time is spent out in the green in Maryville and Kildare, and but there was a huge influence through the school.
Right, okay.
And we'd relatively successful primary school team, and that would have came through our secondary school, the Delassalle. We would have won competitions there, and then started winning under 16s and under 20s, 21s with our club, and went on then to win 3 senior championships with a lot of the fellas who had come up through the school
ranks.
teams.
Yeah, okay, that's brilliant.
And I suppose it showed to us the importance of getting young people in at an early age. We're no different to any other club. It's a battle to try and get people from the town, and particularly new people in the town, to get involved in the club. But I suppose at underage it's a numbers game. But say, getting back, I suppose, to my own time, it was just most of my football is played out in the green with brothers and friends, and I would have been into athletics, I suppose, up between the younger ages. There was a strong athletic club in the town, and but it was always kicking football and always enjoying just being out in the green, or enjoying having the football. And
then you moved on, obviously, to college. What were the Pats at that time? Was it?
No, well, I was secondary school teacher, so I went to Maynooth.
Oh right, okay, brilliant.
And I'd 5 years in Maynooth, and again playing football there, playing Sigerson, and actually got to know the guy who introduced me to O'Neill and Brennan, McCormack, who was a Donegal colleague, and he was doing the HDIP, which is the training. The training, yeah. Qualification you had to do after your arts degree.
Brilliant.
To go on and to do teaching. So I got to know and kept in touch with him, and but again, no matter what you go back through in certainly my life, football would have been the catalyst for most things that I got involved with, that I may have been relatively successful with. Friendships made through football.
Lifelong friendships,
partnered through football indirectly, I suppose, but still through football. And I found, whenever I was involved in football, what came out of it, plenty of disappointments, but no regrets. Anything positive that I've done in my life has been worthwhile. Football is probably, I'd say, the catalyst of most good things.
Well, that's brilliant. And tell me, just go back then to the Safe Pass then, that you're doing for the children. Just tell me a bit more, because that is something that I believe should be, integrated into maybe more schools. Is it only in Kildare at the minute, or?
Well, it's just an initiative we have, O'Neill and Brennan, with say, Kildare Town Community School. But again, it goes back to my own experience growing up, where I'd no experience of a construction site.
Right, okay, yeah.
I remember when I started working with O'Neill and Brennan, the first day I walked into a big construction site was up in Hanover Quay.
Okay.
And I was just blown away. It was scary.
Right, yeah.
It was huge. The number of people who were on site was probably 10 stories in this building. People milling around everywhere, cranes working, just...
You were blown away by it.
I was blown away, and it was a scary place.
Right, yeah, of course.
With everything that was going on, and particularly where I was used to the open expenses of the Curragh, to go into a closed-off building with maybe 200 or 300 people working on it was something I didn't expect.
Right, okay.
And where I see now Kildare town is a town where construction is going to be a big part of growth, and will provide opportunities for young people in the town once they're in a position to be able to avail of them.
Yeah.
And obviously the only way you can walk into a construction site is to have a Safe Pass.
Of course, yeah.
And it's in our own interest, I suppose, as a recruitment industry, to have young people coming into the
100%
into the industry. And so we sponsor those 20 Safe Passes across a range of individuals, and this is where we partner with the school. The school just doesn't pick out the most intelligent or the most likely to succeed. It's across all ranges. So the school is also very cognizant of the fact that they're just not looking after the educational supremos in the school. They've got an onus to to bring everybody through from a
That's
holistic
absolutely
perspective.
brilliant.
So we've got people who are going to be working on construction sites from say digging holes, which are as important as anything else, to
100%.
cleaning up. We've had a number of girls doing the Safe Pass course and trying to create an awareness around the new opportunities that are in construction.
Yeah, and there is a lot more women coming in now, which is fantastic.
Oh, if you look at some of the construction companies now, some of the CEOs are female, which is brilliant. We've had banks women on sites. We all know there's a girl very, very popular on TikTok who's a crane driver.
Great, she's brilliant. Yeah, I'd be following her all the time. It's fantastic to see.
We've teleporter drivers, and I suppose a building site may have been a scary place for women previously, but whenever we would go to a construction company with somebody, particularly with a blue collar background, construction companies are only too eager, too keen to try and see if they can accommodate them to be part of that promotion of bringing women into the
it's fantastic.
site.
I think when I was obviously in school, I was terrible at school, failed everything. I just was not academic at all, and I felt like it was a memory test nearly.
Right.
And I couldn't tell you how bad I was in school. But the likes of that initiative, for a Safe Pass and people getting hands-on. I think years ago it was like you either go, and it was the mentality of you would go do your plank construction in FÁS. It was FÁS back then. And if you didn't do that, you went to college. And there wasn't that many options.
Yeah.
But I feel like the likes of what you are doing now with that Safe Pass initiative, younger kids can actually see, I could go down this route and I could go down that route. And it's not all 100% you need to go to college, and I suppose... which I think that is absolutely brilliant.
Well, again, construction was probably viewed upon and still is a male-dominated industry, and many people felt the only way you could be in construction is you had to get out and get dirty. You were down in the hole,
totally,
or you were up in a machine. But the way construction has evolved, there's so much in the background as well, from architectural perspectives.
Yeah.
Site management now have huge input in obviously the way sites are ran, but they have extended into the likes of AI is certainly
huge,
finding its feet in construction, 3D construction, and there's a role for everybody in that, which is great, but it's still part of the construction industry. And I believe you're still going to have the one-to-one contact. You're still going to have people down in halls. You're still going to have people involved in the the manual part of putting stuff together. And knowing the pitfalls, or knowing the tricky areas, or knowing where there might have been problems. AI isn't going to be able to go back and tell you where there might have been a tricky part of a site, or difficulty they had in maybe chasing a wall, or whatever the case may be. The human aspect of construction will always be there. I believe.
Of course.
But
so it mightn't be today or tomorrow you're receiving CVs in from robots.
Well, I hope not. Anyway, we won't be using the Safe Pass for them, anyway. But getting back to the Safe Pass, we have there are lads and girls who've come through that Safe Pass. We've run it for 4 years now, who are in the construction game or industry at one level or another.
Right.
And I'd be very proud to say that we hopefully opened up doors into areas that they may not have thought were options for them.
100%.
And say Kildare town is only an example of how many towns are going to evolve and change over the coming years.
And I suppose if, somebody's listened to this and they wanted to get involved with this initiative, I suppose they could just contact you.
Yeah, and we provide the tutor to go in and do the Safe Pass course, but the initiative really has to come from the school as well.
100%.
And they work well with us. It's not just a case that they fire the first 20
but
names.
But if you could see, but what age group are these children that are doing this at the minute?
It could be 5th years, transition years, or 6th years.
Okay.
And the the teachers in or the career guidance teacher in Kildare town is very anxious that the right people get to do it.
Right, okay.
It's not just a case of somebody putting their hand up or the teacher's pet goes and do it because he's the great lad in
How long
class.
does it take?
The Safe Pass is still a day course.
Full day course.
So they do it in the school.
Right, that's fantastic.
And it's important from our end that the people who are doing it are the people who really want to do it, as opposed to, seeing this as an opportunity to maybe get something that if they want to do it, it'd save them €200 or €220. You really want people who see this as an opportunity to either get some work for themselves or create a career pathway forward, and open up doors that they hope to get opened up, but this might just make it a little bit easier for them.
Definitely sounds really interesting and well done. So going back to O'Neill and Brennan, so what kind of clients are you typically working with at the minute? Well,
thankfully because we're in the recruitment industry so long, we're involved in companies who are well established. The John Sis, the PJ Hegarty's, Bennett's, Monamees, we're so lucky to be working with those, Walls, Castletorn, among others.
Yeah.
They've all been very supportive of us, and us, we like to feel supportive of what they need.
100%.
And we've built up relationships over the years,
and that's so important.
And those relationships are only maintained and developed because of your attitude to those relationships, as opposed to the industry itself. We see ourselves as, I suppose, a service provider.
Yeah.
Who
you're making their life easier at the end of the day.
Well, we want to create solutions as opposed to be a problem creator, which 100%. Can happen if you don't go in with the right attitude. We want to find right people for the right job, as opposed to just fire names or fire CVs. All the work should be done prior to somebody going on site.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are a lot of other things that come into play, just to, from maybe just the suitability to the site, suitability to the team that they're going to be working with.
And how do you do do you screen CVs then? So obviously you will advertise a job, someone will come to you, you advertise the job, you screen the candidates and then put the best foot forward then, I suppose, to...
Yeah, and I suppose anybody listening to this will just see this purely as a sales pitch. But we do go through that process of screening everybody.
Yeah.
It takes that little bit longer. In some cases, you lose work because you mightn't be as reactive as
but there's
others.
No point in you sending in the wrong person.
But we're keen that we try to get the right person.
Yeah.
We're not always going to get the right person.
No.
But at the end of the day, if you can hold your hand up and say, we did what we can do, or you give the option, we may not have screened this person as well as what we want, but if you really need somebody, the option is there for you to maybe take a chance on this person.
Well, the amount of companies that I'm dealing with on a daily basis, like we're looking after social media for about 70 companies there, and the biggest issue that they all have, like if I ask any of them today on the phone, they'll say staff. Mm-hmm. So it is, and for you to be, I suppose, so involved with such a established company, and you have been around so long, that's given any company peace of mind.
Yeah, and I suppose the reason we are around so long is because we do take pride in being, as I say, we're a service, not just trying to create an industry out for ourselves by getting numbers out there, and we see ourselves an extension of those companies, as opposed to just somebody trying to jump on a bandwagon.
Yeah, 100%.
We want to be able to look people in the eye, say you're not always going to get it right, and there's times you have to just put your hand up and say this didn't work out. But if you can put your hand up and say we did what we could do, we did the best that we can, the chance there you'll get a second chance or a third chance.
100%.
So we've been getting enough chances for the last since '96 to be still here, and it is a sense we do see it as something we're very proud of, that companies we're working with for 25, 30 years, we're still working with them.
Fantastic. It's brilliant. Have you any piece of, I suppose, motivational advice for anyone that's listening to this podcast that is thinking about getting into the construction industry and is not sure?
Well, I'm certainly not going to dress it up as something that it's not.
Yeah.
It's a tough industry from the point of view you will work hard.
Yeah.
But I don't believe anybody who's proud of getting their pay packet at the end of the week, they like to be able to say, well, I worked for that.
Yeah.
I'm glad of what I did. I enjoyed what I was doing. Not every work that anybody, I suppose not every career that everybody goes into is what they want to do.
Yeah.
But they still have to be happy and proud of what they did during that week. And I'm an example. I ended up in the construction industry. When I started college, construction was the furthest thing from my mind. I ended up doing an arts and theology degree.
Oh, right.
To try and go on to, my plan was to go at the time to the UK, to Strawberry Hill, to do PE teaching.
Okay, right.
So I didn't get to Strawberry Hill. I ended up teaching in the school that I attended. But then I got an opportunity through my contact in college, and this door was open.
That's brilliant.
So just because we start out with a plan and a vision as to what it is that we would all dream about doing,
Yeah.
doesn't mean what you end up doing is what you're going to be happy about.
Yeah, 100%.
And what I would be very, I suppose, encouraging of people is that whatever it is you go into it, do it with a heart and a half.
Yeah.
And you'll get the opportunities, you'll get the chances.
Yeah.
And people say construction is tough, that people in construction are tough. But I've never seen an industry that is willing to give people an opportunity
100%.
as much in construction as what you get. If people work hard,
Yeah.
you have enough people in the construction industry who recognise that and are prepared to bring you along. There's plenty of areas that they can use hard-working, honest people
100%.
within the construction. And if you get into it and you want to drive a machine and it's not for you, if you went into it with the right frame of mind, people will maybe direct you down another area.
There's a lot of ladders to be climbed.
There's a lot of ladders. I was just speaking to a man yesterday who just looked for an apprenticeship 30 years ago, and now he's running a site as a project manager for one of the biggest companies that we have in the industry.
That's incredible.
And there's always a pathway for people with the right attitude and you know, with the sense that I want to get on and I want to be honest about what I do and I want to be proud of what it is that I do at the end of the week when I look back at things.
I think O'Neill and Brennan are going to have a stand at the ICE Expo now next May. So what I think is, if there's any children out there or, you know, anybody looking for a change in career, I'm sure you will have somebody there that can talk to them at the ICE Expo next May.
Yeah, we certainly will, because I attended myself last year.
Yeah.
And I was blown away by the scale of it. And Punchestown is the ideal place because it's a huge, vast expanse where you can show off the machinery, because there aren't too many places where you can get the quality of plant and the size of plant that was on display there.
Yeah, it was fantastic now.
And I'll hold my hand up, I'm certainly not a guy who has ever had too much oil in my hands or anything like that. But to see the various types of plant.
Yeah.
And the construction industry is full of people from agricultural backgrounds as well.
100%, yeah.
And what I noticed about the ICE Expo, it just wasn't got to do with construction. There was agriculture, there was machinery that was on display, you know, in your indoor areas that just wasn't necessarily
something for everyone.
So there was something for everyone, and there's no doubt, you know, the way people are evolving and the opportunities that are out there. I certainly think it's worthwhile going to have a look at what's there, because, you know, we'll all learn something different.
Exactly. Every day is a learning day.
It is a learning day. Yeah. I thought that when I was teaching, it wasn't going to be the case, but I'm still doing it now anyway.
Right, so that's brilliant. So look, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, Danielle.
And I suppose, look, if anybody, obviously look up O'Neill and Brennan's website if anybody wants to reach out to you. I suppose both clients or staff, if somebody looking for a career change, all the info's on your website.
All on our website, and we have a marketing team now who are diligently trying to bring us up to speed with everything that's out there from TikTok and Twitter and social media and LinkedIn. You know, we're trying to embrace that. We've young people coming into the business now who are pushing us that way, and it's putting a bit of a fire under us.
That's brilliant.
Older people.
Well, thanks very much for coming in.
Okay, thank you.
This podcast is kindly sponsored by Euro Auctions. The next auction takes place in Mount Rath on the 14th and 15th of November, kicking off at 8:30 a.m.